Hello, y'all. It is time for the latest Breath of Fresh Air Shorty. I almost said webcast, but this is a Shorty with your host, Charles Taylor. Um, Lots to get to. This Shorty will be about the NBA, of course. As y'all know, we have the NBA Finals that is set to begin Thursday night in Denver with the Western Conference champion Denver Nuggets hosting the Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. And again, it will begin Thursday night in Denver. So, of course, we will get on that as the series goes along. Should be an interesting matchup. Uh, Miami, the eighth seed, coming out of nowhere from the play-in tournament to be in the NBA Finals, and Denver was the best team in the Western Conference. So it's definitely different paths to get here to the same result. That's why I always mean when I say there's multiple ways to get to a spot. But this particular shorty is about the teams that got knocked out of their respective conference finals because I want to play the game that you guys know I love to play around this time of the year. Run it back or break it up. So, we are going to talk about the two most storied franchises in the NBA. Of course, I'm talking about the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. Boston, of course, went out to Miami after being down 3-0. They came back to force a game seven on their home court in Boston, but they got sent home. Looked like they didn't have much energy. It looked like one of those performances that were they were just really lethargic, and Miami basically looked like they wanted it more. So, with the running it back or breaking it up, I think this one is easy. Boston needs to run it back, and here's why. It's not necessarily about them needing retooling. They have everything they need, everything they would want. They have two young superstar caliber players in Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. They have a good supporting cast that includes uh, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White. They have a lot of guys there, and they have a young coach in Joe Masula who was kind of thrown into the fire a little bit when Ime Udoka was let go because of the improper relationship or whatever was going on at that time with him. So I don't think Joe Masula is a problem personally. A lot of people were coming down on him as this series was going along, but I don't think he's really the problem per se. He just got out coached in this particular round by Eric Spoelstra, a guy who has been through those battles, a guy who has been through all those trials and tribulations, has seen failures, has seen successes, and he just outcoached a guy who doesn't have that experience. You have to tip your hat to the Miami Heat. But as far as the Celtics go with running it back, they have everything they need. They do not need to break this up at all. What Boston needs is a mentality change because they play with their food way too much and it comes back to bite them at the worst times. Boston's roster is as talented as any in the league. And sometimes when you have that talent, you think you can depend on that talent and come back from any deficit and you will be okay because you're just more talented than those other teams. In this case, they fell behind 3-0. They got to game 7 and then they ran out of gas and got blasted in game 7. But sometimes it's a cumulative effect. When you have the Atlanta Hawks down 3-1, you need to put them away. You have no business going to a game 6 against them. You are probably better than the Philadelphia 76ers. You lost a game in that series where Joel Embiid didn't even play. That was game 1. He didn't play in that series in game 1 of that series, and you lost that game at home. That series should not have went 7 games, but it did because Boston plays with their food. Like I said, they don't take care of the business like they're supposed to all the time. And that's what comes back to bite them. Last year, they were able to get to the NBA Finals, but they ran out of gas against the Golden State Warriors. And this year, they ran out of gas in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. One thing I heard before I get to the Lakers was Boston was not expecting what they got from Miami. You can't possibly tell me that is true. Miss me with that analogy because they have played Miami in this same round 2 years prior before this year. So if you add this year, three out of the past four Eastern Conference finals have had the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics in it. You can't possibly tell me Boston had no clue what they were going to get from Miami. The cast of characters is primarily the same. Miami had Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Coach Eric Spoelstra as far as the core goes. And Boston, same core. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, all those guys. So you can't possibly tell me the Celtics had no idea what they were going to get from the Heat. You don't play a team three times out of the four seasons in the Eastern Conference Finals and not know what to expect. You just went to a game seven with them last year, and here you are in a game seven again. And this time it went the other way. So for me, Boston doesn't need any type of lineup changes as much as they need mentality changes. Go in there, take care of the business, and maybe, just maybe, if there's a mentality change, there can be a little bit more of a different result. Maybe one that has them hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. As for the Los Angeles Lakers, so look, the Lakers to me are a complicated mess. You have LeBron James having the nerve to go up there after they got swept by the Denver Nuggets, talking about he has a lot to think about and he wanted to throw around retirement as an option. That is beyond laughable to me. He is not retiring. I would be very, very shocked if he decided that he was going to retire. But LeBron, from everything we have seen, is way too egotistical to go out like that. He wants his farewell tour. He wants to play with his son. He has talked days and days about playing with his son when he's eligible to come into the draft. So he's not going anywhere before that happens. I just thought it was just laughable how he was trying to change the narrative from him and his team getting swept. So he's not going anywhere. If he is going to come back, then what do you do with the rest of the roster? You have to decide if you're going to believe in Anthony Davis. We know Anthony Davis, when he's right, is one of the best players in the league. He can get you 30 points and 22 rebounds in any given game, but then come back with a listless 14 and 7 performance if he's not injured. So you have to decide what you're going to do with him. Austin Reeves is looking like he's going to get a big contract uh, coming to him, so he might not be there. Personally, I think the Lakers are at the point where it's time for them to start over. Personally, I would break it up. Just get some draft picks, start over, let LeBron do what he's going to do. What I think they're going to do, though, is of course they're trying to maximize the time they have with LeBron, and you might get another year where he's close to his peak self. You're obviously going to have to really monitor him because he's been getting injured more, and that's what happens. He's getting older. It happens. So you're gonna have to see what you can bring around him. Maybe you get another, I guess, potential star player to help. Not Kyrie Irving. Do not bring Kyrie Irving to that team. The thing is, LeBron's probably gonna want Kyrie Irving, and we know he's a terrible GM, and that's gonna set the Lakers back if they bring Kyrie Irving. That we know how good he is offensively, but he doesn't do anything else, and he's a cancer to a team's culture. But uh, if they decide they're gonna bring him there, then the Lakers aren't gonna get any closer to than where they were now. As it is, getting to the Western Conference Finals, that was a miracle in itself. They made some good trades with the people that they were able to bring in, like Jared Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, and then Mo Bamba, who was injured and didn't play, but he could be a guy who could back up Anthony Davis and give him a little bit of a rest. But I think the Lakers are they're gonna run it back. I think it's probably time for them to break it up, and it might be the All Star break around that time when they start to break it up. You see what you have with this roster. If you're able to bring the people you traded for back as well, see if you can get something together. Darvin Ham looks like he's going to be a very good coach. He did excellent in his first year, but the Lakers are coming close to that time where they're going to have to start rebuilding anyway. So I think personally they should just get it started. If LeBron wants to waffle in this retirement talk, whatever, trade him away and let somebody else deal with it and see if he's going to leave anyway to play with his son somewhere. So I just the Lakers are a much bigger question mark than the Celtics are when I look at the two storied franchises the NBA has to the most storied franchises the NBA has to offer. So uh, you have two storied franchises, both kind of at different points. Boston still has a young roster that is gonna be around for a lot of years, and the Lakers have an aging roster. They got younger at the trade deadline, but they still have some aging there, namely with guys like LeBron and AD, and that's the big decisions that need to be made. I would personally break it up, but I think they will run it back. So that is what I am breathing on for today. Y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. So you guys take it easy. Still working on those adjustments and those gosh, I lost the word. But additions. There we go. We're still working on those additions before we bring the webcast back. But until then, everybody take care, and we will be back with more shorties, and I'll still be writing on the blog as well. So y'all take care, take it easy, and have a great rest of the week.